In this, the last week of December 2024, things have been a little bit quiet in Brisbane, but I've still got about 10 updates in this video for you. The first one is that this week there's been articles put out by media outlets like the Brisbane Times, the Sydney Morning Herald, saying that 5 of Australia's cities are among the most expensive in the world as far as housing affordability goes, and that Brisbane sits at number 20 least affordable city in the world for housing. They're referring to a report by the international think tank Demographia. But there's a lot of details that media articles are leaving out that are important to know to really understand the situation. But the Brisbane Channel is about not just making sure you're informed, but that you're well informed. So let's go to the source and bust some myths. Firstly, the report does not reflect the current situation. The 2024 report examined housing affordability in the third quarter of 2023, so it's over a year old. Brisbane's median house price increased by about 11% in the 12 months up to November this year. Secondly, the report looked at 94 metropolitan areas in just 8 countries. So when articles say 20th most expensive in the world, they're really just saying 20th most expensive out of 8 countries. And the report didn't even look at every major city in those 8 countries. There are 195 countries recognised by the UN, so that means the report only assessed affordability in 4% of countries. While many are quite expensive as far as housing goes, such as the UK and Hong Kong, with 96% of countries left out, including Japan, South Korea, mainland China, and pretty much all of continental Europe, we do need to take the results with a bucket of salt. But let's look at what value we can get out of the report. The report ranks cities based on a median multiple, which is a figure that represents the median house price divided by the median household income. So a score of 5 would mean the cost of a property is the equivalent of 5 years' median household income. A median multiple of 3 or below represents housing that is considered affordable. At the other extreme, a value of 9 or above is impossibly unaffordable. The median out of the 5 Australian cities examined is 9.7, which is double that of the 56 United States cities included in the study. Brisbane's median multiple is 8.1, which puts it at severely unaffordable. And it seems the general view of economists is that that is not looking to improve anytime soon. Oxford Economics, for example, predict the median house price in Brisbane will reach $1.21 million by 2027. But that's the median house price. If you want to see the kind of properties that people with serious money buy in Brisbane, this week realestate.com shared their most viewed properties of 2024, and 5 of Queensland's top 10 are in Brisbane. Most of the other 5 were on the Gold Coast. Second most viewed was 19 Cirque Street in Hamilton, which includes its own wine cellar. It was listed in February but withdrawn. Someone who had a lazy $15 million snatched up 6th most viewed property, 21 Kalara Avenue, also in Hamilton, in May. On the other side of the river, number 7 was 46 Gordon Street in Hawthorn. It's still listed, so if you're interested, it last sold in 2014 for $6.1 million. For a bit more acreage, number 8 most viewed on realestate.com was 101 Geldart Road in Chandler, which sold last year for an as yet undisclosed amount. And coming in at number 9 is 170 Camelot Place in Bridgeman Downs, which is still on the market. If you've got a spare $4 million or so, it could be yours. But even if properties like this are out of your price range, it's still nice to make your home look $1 million, and that's where the sponsor of this video, YB Painting Services, comes in. When I need work done on my place, guaranteed this is who I'll be calling. Their professionalism and near-obsessive attention to detail is impressive, and with fixed pricing and a 5-year warranty on all their work, you can be sure there'll be no unpleasant surprises. If you're thinking of having some work done on your place, then scan this QR code or click the link in the video description to find out how you can claim your 10% discount on a booking with YB Painting. I've seen the quality of their work firsthand, and I guarantee you won't regret it. While we're on property-related updates, a new development application's been put in for 3 50-storey towers and a new park on the Brisbane River at South Brisbane on a former industrial site. It'll take advantage of the recently relaxed rules around parking requirements, with 1 car space for every 2 bedrooms, but will also have on-site parking for up to 775 bicycles and e-bikes. The towers will house 620 apartments, and the public parkland included in the application will be 5,400 square metres. As the 100-day review into Olympic Games infrastructure continues, there's been a bit of a clash on some of the venues. Toowoomba Regional Council has submitted a proposal for the equestrian events to be held in its showgrounds, which they are hoping will be upgraded to Olympic and Paralympic standards. Toowoomba is currently not slated to host any events after the original plans to hold Olympic football in their Clive Berghofer Stadium were scrapped after Graham Quirk's review concluded in March. But home of the Ekka, Brisbane's RNA showgrounds, which has so far looked likely to hold the events, has lodged their own submission to the current review and are saying they won't give the equestrian events up to Toowoomba without a fight. The Brisbane Channel will keep you up to date with how things play out, so if you somehow haven't subscribed and hit the bell to enable all notifications yet, maybe it's time you did. There's 2 stories relating to serious diseases in this week's update. Firstly, Queensland Health put out an emergency alert after a man infected with measles was infectious in the community between the 12th and 16th of December. He visited many crowded areas and shopping centres whilst contagious. While most people recover after having measles, up to 30% may need to be hospitalised. Measles, a nationally monitored disease, has become much less common in Australia over the years due to a rigorous national immunisation program. But a mystery disease has been sweeping across southeast Queensland and northern New South Wales, but it's no threat to humans. Thousands of rainbow lorikeets and bats have been struck down by a syndrome that causes temporary paralysis, which can often be deadly. Animals affected are unable to even blink or swallow. It's most severe in summer, and this summer, it's the worst it's been since it was first discovered 5 years ago. Lorikeets and flying foxes share the same diet, and while the cause of the paralysis is unknown, the current theory is that it's caused by a toxin, such as a fungus or a bacterium, in the wildlife's food. Logan Council has erected signs near bat colonies with information on what to do if you find flying foxes suffering from the syndrome. If you do find an affected lorikeet or bat, then just contact a wildlife rescue organisation such as WIRES, the RSPCA, or a specialised one like Queensland Bat Conservation and Rescue. But it's not all bad news. This week, Mater released news that after multiple procedures, Dr. Diana Kennedy and her team had reconstructed the face of Ipswich baby Patrice Karabandica, who was born 13 weeks premature and about 6 weeks later contracted a rare flesh-eating disease called Noma neonatorum, which can affect newborns and is usually fatal within 3 days of infection. It's very rare in Australia, and Patrice's is the first case that has been treated by Mater and the Queensland Children's Hospital. But it seems Patrice is a fighter. The surgeons have removed the infected tissue and have repaired the extensive skin defects and wounds. And Patrice is now growing well and meeting all his developmental milestones. In a previous update on the Brisbane Channel, we saw that sale of illegal tobacco products is rife in Brisbane, and this week police are investigating possible links between the alleged firebombing of a tobacconist in Fortitude Valley with organised crime. The business had been open for a couple of weeks before it was targeted as captured in this CCTV footage. Queensland Police now have a team of detectives dedicated specifically to investigating links between the sale of illegal tobacco and organised crime groups, and it's estimated that these groups control about 75% of the market. I should point out that there's no allegation of the tobacconist targeted in this incident being involved in any illegal activity. To something more positive, and this week, the last week of December, we'll see the reopening of 2 of Brisbane's train stations, Lyndham and Morningside, after they were closed 11 months ago as part of Queensland Rail's accessibility upgrade project. Alterations include new elevators and accessible footbridges, improved features for vision and hearing impaired passengers, and improved accessible parking. Lyndham Station reopened on the 23rd, and Morningside will reopen on the 31st in time for the New Year's Eve fireworks. Special thanks to channel viewer Andrew TechHelp for bringing the reopenings to my attention. And while we're on transport infrastructure updates, in Moreton Bay, residents of Olimba have won a battle to stop the new Moreton motorway from going through their town. The Department of Transport and Main Roads announced their proposal for 2 routes going through the town in 2023, sparking creation of the community campaign Homes Before Highway. The department has now announced that the proposed route will not go through Olimba, and they will announce alternatives in early 2025. I'll let you know when the new proposed route is announced, so stay tuned. The next update is one I've been a little bit hesitant to include in this video because it's just so messy and hard to sum up briefly. But in a nutshell, users of an app used to pay for parking in many Brisbane car parks have been caught up in a commercial dispute which has caused some to be concerned about the safety of their personal details and just confused. It started when Solar Park Australia, who is contracted by clients including Brisbane City Council and the University of Queensland, contacted customers notifying that they would be switching Australian accounts from the internationally licensed Solar Park app to a new app called oPark, which they had developed themselves. The next day, the customers received an email telling them to ignore that email and that the transition was not authorised, that the email had been sent in breach of obligations to the mother company and would not proceed. Hours later, Solar Park Australia confirmed on their Facebook page that the transition would go ahead. That's left many Solar Park users feeling like they're in limbo, while Celo in Israel and Solar Park Australia fight over commercial rights. At a recent press conference, Brisbane's Lord Mayor expressed the council's frustration with the debacle.
We've asked them to sort their differences out. Obviously, there's an internal dispute going on at the moment. We are running out of patience with this, and we've been advised that it will be addressed in the very near future. But ultimately, this is something that's an internal matter within Solar Park.
Of course, the Brisbane Channel will be following it all and will let you know where things are at as the matter continues. That's about all I've got for you for the last weekly update of 2024 on the Brisbane Channel. It's a bit of a special year for me because it marks 10 years living in Brisbane. Thanks to everyone for your support this year, especially channel members, elite contributors Flying Beardman, Darbee Royal and Chad Martin, as well as insider MostlyReading and these supporters. Also everyone who bought me a coffee or two. January may be a little bit quiet on the channel as I hustle to try and finish my doctorate, but I'll try to at least keep up with the weekly updates. Apart from that, have a happy new year and I'll see you in 2025 on the Brisbane Channel.